Gorgeous George, I don't need to see clear to fracture your rear. I may be wearing a mask. It may be hard to see, but there is no doubt I will turn your eyeballs inside out. You feel the animal? I'm gonna run wild on you. Woo!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another exciting edition of Inside Comics with George McHale. I am George, and next to me is comic book pro by day, wrestling legend by night, also known as the Animal, Bob Anger. My guest is my main man, Andy Belalanger.
Oh, how you doing?
Dude, thanks for being on the show. We actually met last year at New York Comic Con at the Comic Stream after party. That was a crazy night. I wanted to hear all about your wrestling war stories, and you were kind enough to indulge me with a few tales.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. That was a good party.
And you did a badass variant cover for my upcoming Absolute Comics series, Resilient. Thank you for that.
That was fun. That was a good cover. That was
so I'd like to talk to you about professional wrestling and comic books, because you've got like these two just amazing careers that I think so many people are like just super interested in. Can you tell me what it is that you love about professional wrestling?
It's so much. Pro wrestling's the best. I'm in better shape than I have been my whole life, and my wife likes that. She likes that. It's stress relieving. Performing is the most amazing thing ever. Getting in front of fans and freaking out and doing what we do is unreal. And it's just the mechanics, the mechanics of the dance, of the fight is just, it's amazing. And it works parts of my brain that I'm not really good at. So I think it helps a lot. In wrestling, you have to have very like on the fly, on the spot, sort of like brain action happening, real good short-term memory. And Animal doesn't have a lot of that left. So it really works a side of my brain that I'm not used to. So it's really fun that way. And I like it. I like getting beat up, and I like giving the beats. There's nothing better in life than throwing a guy off the rope and coming down with a clothesline on him and like watching him hit the dirt.
I'll have to try that sometime.
A stressful time this week, and your wife is coming down on you, and your boss is coming down on you, and you get to jump in the ring and take a guy down into the dirt. No better feeling, man. No better feeling.
So who are some of your like all-time favorite wrestlers?
This guy right here, Jushin Thunder Liger. He is the best. He's like one of my biggest influences. My all-time favorite wrestler is Macho Man Randy Savage. Just a total package for me when it comes to in-ring everything, the persona, the look. Just Macho Man in my opinion, was the best at what he did.
Absolutely.
But Steamboat, Taker, Stone Cold, The Rock, all those guys. I love Ibushi in Japan right now. Those are my big ones.
So Macho Man was Bonesaw in the first Spider-Man movie. And
what's he say? I got you for 3 minutes.
Yeah. What is one of your favorite performances by a wrestler in a movie?
Dave Bautista is genuinely a pretty amazing actor. Like him in Guardians of the Galaxy, like he makes that movie for me. Like he's just phenomenal in that film, and I think he's genuinely a really great actor. Like I think he's really good. I met Dave Bautista in a convention in Louisville.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I got to talk to him. It was really good. We're about the same height, but if you took two of the Animal and taped them together, that's how that's how big he is. I would say he has like, it looks like he's got like another 100 pounds on me
Wow.
of just muscle. Like it's crazy. And I'm not a little guy.
He's super nice, like in person.
Oh yeah, he's a sweetheart. Yeah.
I met Kevin Nash last year in
Yeah, me too.
Madison. Yeah, he was just
He's
walking by my booth, and he was really cool to me. He's, had a little chat, and I gave him one of my books, and he took a picture with me without me asking or anything. So it was like really nice.
Yeah, he came to a convention in Montreal here, and I was in the hotel bar, hanging out with the dude from Barrymore, the dude from The Hills Have Eyes, the bald, creepy killer dude. I was hanging out with him, and Kevin Nash walked by, and I don't know if you thought this, but Kevin Nash looked like the biggest guy I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Like, not only was he like just jacked big, but like I'm 6'2", and I was like looking up at him like this, like huge dude. And he knew the actor guy, and I kind of freaked out and was like, oh man, Kevin. He turned around, he's like, hey man, what do you do? And I told him about who I was, and he's like, oh, you're with my buddy here. He's like, listen, I'm gonna go to pee, and when I come back, you have me for 2 hours, and you can ask me anything you want about wrestling, and I'll buy the beer. And I drank with Kevin Nash for 2 hours and just asked him all kinds of crazy wrestling stories.
Oh, it's so much better than my story.
Well, I mean, he's a sweetheart. He's a real cool guy.
Yeah, he was super nice.
Yeah.
And you've actually worked for the Boom Studios and told some WWE stories.
Yeah. Me and Shane Hawk, Andrew Stott. He's my trainer in WWE. One of them. He's kind of like one of my best friends and the guy that got me into wrestling. Andrew was the writer. That guy's like a wrestling encyclopedia, but he's like a very gifted writer. So I wanted to write them myself, but we kind of got together and started co-writing. And after we started, he was just so good at writing wrestling stories that I was like, you do it. I'll just draw whatever you want me to draw. And we got to do some really cool shorts. We had like a Jake the Snake and a Braun Strowman, and we got to do the sort of like growing up story of Kevin and Sammy. And then the last one we did was like that childhood story of Kane and Taker that no one got to do. I heard a bunch of people pitched it and they got turned down, and then we got the green light to do the story.
That's
and
awesome.
That was like
I actually didn't know about that. I want to check that out because I've like everybody kind of wants to know more of their back history, so I gotta find.
Yeah, it's the back history to Undertaker and Kane. Yeah, that was like one of the most. That was while I was sitting at the board drawing Undertaker and Kane beating each other up, I was like, okay, like 13-year-old Andy is freaking out right now. Like that was really cool.
I heard you talk once about a story that you had in mind to do with Brock Lesnar, like
Brock Lesnar, Time Beast. Yeah. So when we got approached by Boom, we didn't know what they wanted. They wanted like legacy character stories. And Andrew and I went out one day, and we sat at a bar and we got all our stuff out, and we had 21 different stories for different wrestlers by the end. And they would all be connected by Jericho. I don't know if you remember back in the day, but Jericho, Y2J, had like it was like a weird like time machine that he kind of like, as the background that he kind of like came in with. So Jericho was like a time traveler, and he was going through history looking for like magic scarves, because I don't know if you remember, but he had this gimmick with the scarves. So he was like looking for magic scarves, and he had the list. And one of those stories was like Brock Lesnar, Time Beast, and Brock Lesnar would go back into history and beat up famous people like Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan. Be like Genghis Khan in a war, and then Brock Lesnar would just show up and kick his ass.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Chris Jericho is probably my favorite wrestler. Like if he's, it doesn't matter if he's a baby face or heel, I'm rooting for him.
Who? Lesnar or Flair?
No, Chris Jericho.
Oh, Jericho. Oh God, yeah. Jericho's one of my all-time favorite wrestlers too. I
Um,
love Jericho. He's the best.
I also like
Freaking Jericho.
Bret Hart. My wife and I
Yeah.
actually went as the Hart Foundation for Halloween a few years back.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Were you
Yeah,
the Anvil?
sorry?
Were you the Anvil?
No. I had a
You were
wig
Bret
on.
Hart, and you made your wife. Your wife was
Well,
Jimmy
she's
Anvil
blonde.
Neidhart.
She's blonde. Yeah, I thought it was. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
so funny.
I'll throw a picture up here now.
Yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
so switching gears a little bit.
Yep.
Uh, you worked on Kill Shakespeare.
Yeah, that was
For
my first series. Yeah.
yeah. And how did that come about? How did you break into comics with that?
Um, Up to that, well, I was in the Raid Studios in Toronto. So I was part of that studio, and I was only doing like one shot. So I did like Friday the 13th for Wildstorm. I was doing like all these books for like Moonstone and some other stuff. And then I was in talks with a guy, um, my buddy Kwanzaa, who was the editor at DC. They were going to do a webcomic series, and I was doing a webcomic series with those guys called Transmission X, called Raising Hell, and I was going to do one for DC. And that's when the Kill Shakespeare guys came at me. And at that point, I just wanted long format storytelling. I wanted a trade. I didn't want to do just one comic anymore. I wanted to do like 30 in one series. So they came to me and they had raised funds to by investors to create this series. And I was a Shakespeare fan when I was a kid in high school and college and stuff like that. I really love Macbeth and The Tempest. I really love those stories. And I did 4 trades with those guys. But what I will say about Kill Shakespeare, it's like where I learned to make comics.
I've spent some time with one of the writers of that series, Connor McCreary.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Connor's great.
Yeah, he's been very kind to me. He's like giving me notes on my writing and giving me
Oh, that's so
tips
cool.
on the industry and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, Connor's great.
So you have a Kickstarter live right now. It's called Mother Trucker.
Mother Trucker.
Amaze balls. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Mother Trucker is a space trucking, ass stomping wrestle goddess who trucks through the galaxy looking for her long lost kid and to become the greatest champion of all time of Truck Off, the WrestleMania of the Starways. So it's a Truck Off, the universe is kind of like those ice road truckers meets WWE. So in space, there's like these highways, and let's say you're the champion of Walmart. You have the shipping contracts. You're the hauler, and your contract is actually like a belt, right? So if you're the Walmart guy, you have a Walmart belt, and I want your belt. I'm another trucker. It's a better contract, so I'll roll up on you. I'll challenge you to a fight, and you have to accept. And our trucks, the back of our trucks, transform into rings.
That's
and
crazy.
we scrap it out for who's going to get the contract. And if I beat you, I get your contract and your truck. So you can't come after me after. And you have to start all over again and try and get a new truck. So that's the universe. And so the second we start wrestling, like people on the highway just like start freaking out. They stop and they start, there's audience, the announcers fly in and it becomes like a big spectacle and it gets televised like on the spot on the highway, these space highways. So it's like super bananas. And Mother Trucker is a story that I've been working on for 4 years. So I became a wrestler with this in mind. Like I want, like, you know, how an actor will take a job at like a restaurant to be like a sous chef so that in the movie they look like they know what they're doing.
Oh,
That was my idea with wrestling. I wanted to train a little bit so that I could get like introduced to the lingo and whatever, and really feel what it was like to be in the ring.
I know you've got some awesome variant covers for your Kickstarter here. You got like the spicy one from Wonder Woman artist Carrie Nord.
Yeah.
But can you tell me about some of the other reward tiers that you're offering for crowdfunding this comic?
Yeah, so we didn't know what to expect here. So we had a lot of our reward tiers at lower price points because we didn't know what was going to happen. This is my first Kickstarter, and like I know I'm doing the best work of my life for sure. Like I'm really pumped about the way the comic looks. So a lot of them were smaller, but when we hit 15, I did another centerfold. When we hit 16, Danica Bryan, who lives out east, did a pinup. When we hit 18, Nick Bradshaw is doing a print, unlocked Nick Bradshaw doing a pinup.
Yeah.
And we just hit 20 this morning. So Mike Cho's doing a pinup now. And at 20, you're going to get an 80-page art book, like digital art book from me, like a PDF with 80 pages of art, 15 pages of like the making of Mother Trucker. So like designs and sketches and, you know, different stuff that led to the comic. And then a history, like a pictorial history of me in the ring. So how I became the animal. Like I have so many photos throughout the years of me wrestling. And then I did a comic a few years ago because people wanted me to do an animal comic. And I kind of like started, but then I got busy on another contract. So I did the first sort of short story called White Wedding about the animal. That's kind of fun. You'll get that. And then, yeah, the Mike Cho one just got unlocked. So I've got 3 pinups that are going to be pretty crazy.
Can't wait to get my copy of Mother Trucker.
Yeah, man. Thanks, dude. It's going to be so cool. I can't wait to hold it. All of them. Like Carl Kerschel's cover is like just this crazy, unreal sort of like ode to the Capcom. It's just like badass. And then Carrie's like sexy painted one with like with a Mother Trucker on it is amazing. It's funny because he did one before that and she was like wearing all her clothes and stuff, and I was like, dude, this is supposed to be the sexy one, why is she wearing clothes? So I had him paint me another one, and I think she's giving the middle fingers in it because she's like, F you for making me do this again.
Man, it's been so great having you on the show. If people want
Thanks,
to follow
brother.
you, it's at Andy_Bellinger on Instagram.
Yep.
And if they want to get your insane new comic, Mother Trucker, they should go to Kickstarter.com, type in Mother Trucker, and back that book.
Yep. Back it. We're starting a revolution. No publishers. This is just going to go to you guys. It's going to be so much fun for the next 2 years. It's going to be crazy.
Andy, you're one of my favorite people in comics.
Thanks, man. You too.
Thanks for being on Inside Comics. And that's a wrap. Peace.
Later, brother. Right on.